What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 16 of the Offshore Gamescast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dylan.
Let's talk about shit.
Let's talk about shit. Like dropping the anchor, Forgotten City. Go to offshoregamescast.com. It is there for you to listen to in its entirety.
It's a good one, but please only listen if you have either no intention of playing the game or have already beaten the game.
Yeah, heavy spoilers. We pretty much talk about any big moment from the story.
Which is all of it.
Yeah. Moving on. Let's talk about some games.
I finished Psychonauts.
Ooh, you
that
did.
That was a nightmare.
I was gonna say, was it bad?
I mean, you remember when I left off that I was saying that I was stuck at the point where there was the giant wheel that was spinning with the dude throwing the swords in it. I finally
like multiple parts of that.
Yeah, there were two wheels, and once you got past one, you had to do a little thing and do another one. And I gave it a day or two, and I went back to it, and I was sitting there with my buddy, and I was like, after a few tries, I was like, all right, I did it, and I moved on to what I thought was like the ending, which I don't know why I was expecting it to be over, knowing that every other level in this game wasn't just one section and done. So after being so frustrated at that, I walk out the fucking circus flaps in the tent that we're in, and I see the next section in front of me, and all I could think of is Jesus fucking Christ. I didn't.
Is it more wheels?
No, this next section was a rail challenge where I had to jump on the rail and like start riding it.
Okay.
And at certain intervals, there would be a section missing, so I would have to jump from one to the other.
One of those.
The camera and the controls are just so out of date that it is just being so difficult.
Yeah.
That after completely losing all my lives and like restarting it again and again.
Do you have to restart from the wheel section or?
So I did numerous times without realizing until like 2 sections later that I remember that there's a little teleport system where I can just talk to this little worm and it'll take me to whatever section I should be at. It got to a point where I didn't need to do that. We had gotten so far that any time that I failed, it just reloaded me back in right where I was. But at this point, I'm getting pissed off at this the rail thing because there's one section right in the beginning, and then there's one section closer to the end that are just the two most difficult. To the point where like I remember at one point just seeing myself clip through it. Because it was like 1 pixel away from like getting started, and I was just like, you gotta be shitting me. So that happens like you have like a base like 8 lives, and once those are done, you have to restart again. And once I did that, I was just like, all right, I put the controller down, I handed it to my buddy, and I was like, go ahead, do it. So
did he do it like? Because I know he really likes it. Did he do it like pretty quickly?
Nope.
Oh wow, okay.
While being like a huge fan of this game, still some of it like wasn't fully clicking with him either because it's still been a decently long time. But
a lot of those platformers from then too. Even Super Mario 64, which is an incredible game.
Yeah,
like the camera fucking sucks.
It's bad.
It's real bad.
It ended up getting to a point where he was also failing, and both of us were just sitting there like, all right, we got to cheese this somehow. We got to figure something out. So I'm like, all right, what if we hop on the levitate ball and we line ourselves just right where we jump, like we're looking in the right way off the platform, and we just fucking run and jump off and then pull out the levitate balloon and start gliding down to another part of the rail. It's so touchy that it kept either missing. We would land on it, but we wouldn't have enough speed, so we would start going the other way, and it just wouldn't line up. And the piece that we would land on is like a sectioned off piece itself. So it's like there's an empty space in front of us and behind us. So there's no really good place to pick up speed and continue. And I don't remember exactly what we ended up doing, but we like found another spot on like the part up high we were at, and we're like, all right, what if we just try to avoid all of it and just whatever we can do. And he was able to somehow figure it out, and we got down to the bottom. I'm like, all right, fucking now what? So we go down, and there's another circus tent. So again, I'm walking through the flaps this time. I'm like, all right, the little fucking kid is here. He's got his rabbit. Now what? This giant monstrosity of what is essentially a like mentally fucked version of this kid's dad shows up, who's known as the Butcher, and he's this giant muscle thing with these giant like butcher knives. And he's chasing me around in circles around this entire tent. And Psychonauts is one of those games where it doesn't tell you what to do. It really like gives you all the tools you need and just lets you be like, all right, think, just figure it out. Mm-hmm. And that sucks. It's annoying. Pisses me off because I don't think like that. Modern games don't act like that. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this guy? He's running at me, massage chopping the ground. He's doing like one long swoop from left to right. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to do this? He gets his knife stuck in the ground, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, do I punch him? What do I do? Do I shoot him? Now what? What the fuck am I supposed to do? And as I'm going through it, there's like a little hint system where you can pull out a piece of bacon and start waving around your ear.
As one does.
Which is the signal for, like, one of the old head Psychonauts to, like, pop out of your ear and be like, what's going on here? And you're like, what do I do? And he's like, I think you gotta climb up his arm and punch him in the face. I'm like, okay. I was gonna do that, but now let's do that. So he gets his shit stuck in the thing. I'm climbing up his arm, which is a lot harder than it seems, because it's I can think back to especially...
So his arm's, like, actually that big to the point where you're, like, climbing up it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's still, like, I'm still sliding off. I'm not making it up. And the dude's only stuck in there for so long. Like, it's not forgiving.
Is this guy, like, the size of, like, one of the Colossus from Shadow of the Colossus? Like...
No, like, compared to me, he's probably, like, a 3-story building.
Okay, that's pretty big, though.
It's big. It's not Colossus big, but it's not fun.
But it's big.
So... I'm thinking to myself, all right, I climb up his arm, I punch him in the face, nothing. I'm like, what? All right, let's do this again. Dodge, 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 move. Get stuck, climb up his arm, punch him in the face. Oh, now it works. His hitbox is trash. The part that you have to punch him, I somehow got it on the first go by doing an accidental ground pound on his neck. Which that counted, but then I went and did it a second time and it didn't work, so I'm dying again and again and again. And I'm getting mad. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, now what? Let's cheese again. Bring out the levitate ball again. He gets this thing stuck in the ground. I bounce up, land on his shoulder, punch him in the face, run away immediately. Rinse and repeat. All right, it only takes 3 hits in the face to take him down.
That's not a lot.
It's not a lot because it's so annoying and tedious of having to climb up his arm, make sure you don't fall off, get up to him. His hitbox has got to be waking up on the right side of the bed. So I fucking do that. And I'm like, please let this be it. So a little cutscene happens, and the credits don't show up, and I'm getting angrier. And time for the next boss fight section, number 2. This time, a mentally fucked up version of my dad.
Oh, boy.
Comes out of nowhere. It was like, you piece of shit. And I'm like, huh? And I have to run through this fucking acrobatic course because Raz was raised by acrobats in the circus and whatnot. So as this test, I need to not use any psychoactive abilities and just use all of my know-how on acrobatics to make my way through this platforming obstacle course. So it starts off with me just like climbing up and like seeing him and like just like him talking, and I'm going down these trapeze wires, and he's like, all right, I'm just gonna start lobbing these flaming spiked fucking juggling pins at you. I realize that doesn't nearly do enough damage to stop me, so I just literally get hit in the face and I just power through it. I'm just running through it. I'm like, it's so much easier to just get hit and make it to where I gotta go than avoid these things. But there's this one section where there are 2 spikes that are sticking out of the ground that are slightly leaning outwards from each other. Attached to them are rope starting at one end and slightly going up to the other, and then the next one is like a foot or 2 above that, and then doing the opposite thing the other way, so like slightly going up. And as I'm trying to climb up this thing, I keep getting hit at the perfect timing of where I would jump up, and then he'd hit me, and then I'd fall back down. And so I could not finish my animation, and this was just happening over and over and over again. I'm like, why? What's happening with this level? So I feel like at this point, I have it. Raz does this scream when he's dying and like when he's falling, and I swear I'm going to hear that in my nightmare sometime soon because it's so ingrained in me. But as I'm going through, I'm avoiding his fucking hits. This platforming section is absolute garbage. And the entire time that I'm climbing, Raz has a huge fear of water. The place is just filling up with water, and I have to like avoid that and climb really fast, avoiding these flaming fucking pins.
Is it one of those things where like, if you land in the water, you just instantly like drown and that's it?
You get reloaded at the last like checkpoint, which each checkpoint, yeah, it's good that they're there, but each section isn't like, oh, I can easily get past this. They're all fucking frustrating.
Yeah.
It ends up getting to a point where I have to climb up to this ladder and climb down the ladder, like slide down it, but it's like, obviously this is like in someone's mind. So the ladder's going upside down. I'm sliding upside down. I'm sliding down the ladder backwards up. My legs are dangling in the air as I'm sliding upside down, like going up the ladder.
What? So was this a glitch or was this
This is just like because the ladder like dips and goes upside down, and I'm still sliding down it.
So it's just like trippy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so I make it to the top. I'm like, fucking please. I dealt with this dad. I dealt with my dad. I don't want to deal with anything else.
No more dads.
Time for boss fight number 3.
Is it another dad?
It's back with the butcher now.
Okay.
So it's the exact
same. So he is
same,
a dad.
Yeah, it's the exact same course of the first boss fight where I'm running away from him and he's fucking coming at me with his knives. But now at the same time, my dad's off to the side throwing the fucking flaming pins in the way.
Dad on dad.
On kid. And it's bad.
Yeah, that is bad.
So after a little more thinking, I realized, okay, I gotta wait for the butcher to get close to me, and I'll use my telekinesis to throw the fucking pins at him, so he'll get damaged, he'll fall to the ground, and I can go punch him in the face. Of course, I die a few times because the controls and this and that, but we finally get through it, and I'm like, please, I don't know how much more I can take. Boss fight number 4. Get ready.
Dad?
We now have an amalgamation of like some Frankenstein-ass monster of both dads combined, stitched together. But luckily, there's like some fucking psycho spirit bomb shit where every other of like the psycho people are just powering and channeling their energy into me to the point where I am like in the center of this giant energy Raz that is the same height as these two conjoined dads. So I gotta run over and beat the shit out of them, whittling away a third of their health. By the time that's done, the bar for this like big energy mech whatever thing is gone. So I'm just running away as I'm waiting for it to recharge, and automatically
so you just do it again.
It comes back and I run back over. He's blocking with the giant knives, so just punch right through him. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this right now. 3 times after that, and it's fucking finally over.
Like the whole game?
Finally. I get a little cutscene. I get the credits. It's nice. And I'm never beating this game again.
Now, with how this game ended, do you still feel like you're like ready to jump into Psychonauts 2?
I have.
Oh, you have? All right. Just, you know what? Just go on to it then.
So before we continue, I want to say that like no matter how fucking frustrating and bullshit the last section of Psychonauts can be, I still give the game like a 7. It's still a very worthy game with some really great characters and has like a real good theme of literally being the only person capable of handling a situation when everyone around you is just incompetent. And the game does that really well, but just some of those final levels are just like, man, they didn't have enough coffee or something. and they were just really mad. But there's that. And then, fuck it, my bud was just like, all right, I'm curious. It's been so long for me from finishing Psychonauts and, like, obviously my love for it and then hopping into the second one. I want to know how bad, I want to know really bad what it's like for someone who literally just finished it to hop into the second one. And to not really anyone's surprise, feels incredibly better compared to the first one.
I mean, you would hope so. That's how long it's been. It was, 13 years?
16.
16, okay.
Any issue that I had was just, like, gone. Like, the camera's nice, the platforming feels good. The tutorial immediately throws you into the brain of Dr. Lobato, who is the scientist who was stealing the kid's brains in the first one. He ended up falling off of his, like, tower into, like, the rocks and the water below, but obviously they didn't show him die, so he wasn't dead. He's that bad guy that just keeps showing up and
it's like the same with like Crash Bandicoot or Ratchet and Clank. Nefarious.
It's exactly the kind of shit that he is.
Yep.
So we're doing the tutorial level in his brain, and I'm being thrown off. Started off with telekinesis, I think pyrokinesis, levitate, and the Psy Blast. And all of those feel, if not the same or better.
Okay.
The telekinesis, instead of like the way it worked in the first game was you focused on something which you not only had to be close to it, but you had to be like directly facing the item. You would then use your telekinesis and you would show like an arch of where it would land, which was very short. Now you just pick something up and it's just like you're holding it and you can run around with it and it's just like sitting there until you want to throw it, which it feels much better. The side blast works pretty much exactly the same. It may be like a little bit better tracking when it comes to locking on enemies, which you just click on the right stick for. The pyrokinesis works a little differently. Instead of in the first game where you, again, had to be really close and facing the object, there would be a little thermometer that would pop up that would like start rising as it gets hotter and then catch on fire. This, you form a little like ball in front of you where you just kind of stand in front of an enemy or an obstacle, and then it'll like highlight itself to be like, yes, this will catch on fire when you let go. Mm-hmm. So that works. It works better. The only thing that sucks is the levitate ended up getting a little nerfed to where the ball that you ride on, you have to hold the jump button for it to jump higher, and it just doesn't jump nearly as high as it did in the first one. And the balloon, when you're gliding down, now acts like a normal balloon as if it was deflating. So after like a short amount of time, it'll just stop. You can't just go on and glide indefinitely slowly down and like land somewhere. You have to wait or go over like a fan or bubbles to push you up, which will fill the balloon up more, giving you more time to glide. So that's probably the most disappointing thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine, though, that people that haven't played the first Psychonauts since, like, 16 years or whatever, wouldn't necessarily, like, it wouldn't be as jarring of a difference.
Probably not, but coming so close afterwards, that's something that I did notice.
I will say, I do like when sequels do the thing of, like, all right, you got all these abilities and stuff in the game before, so you just still have them.
It almost has to in this game, because the game literally starts probably, I think, 3 or 4 days after.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you remember, there was a PSVR game that was released called the Rhombus of Ruin.
No.
That was supposed to tie in those few days in between Psychonauts 1 and 2.
Wait. PSVR?
Yeah.
Isn't Psychonauts Xbox exclusive?
It was. It's on... Well, Psychonauts 2 is on PlayStation, and I think they ended up releasing... the original on PlayStation like a few years ago, maybe around the time.
So is this one of those situations where the contract was like already in place? Because didn't Xbox buy that studio?
So they have the studio, but Psychonauts 1 originally came out as an exclusive for that and PC, I think, years ago, and maybe some contract ended up dissipating between then and the purchase, but I'm not positive on that stuff.
So Psychonauts 2 is on PlayStation?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, it's on Game Pass, so I wouldn't get it on PlayStation. I had no idea.
Yeah. So there was the PSVR game that was released that was you going around and I think saving Lily's dad, who was like the head of the Psychonauts headquarters. And now at the beginning of the second one, you are now an intern of the Psychonauts after already saving the dad and then seeing the new issues that are going on now.
It seems like you should be more than an intern.
You should. You come up and you save this whole camp, you save the CEO, and you're coming up against like security, and she's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm
what?
Raz." It's like, all right, scan your face, scan your brain, and he scans his brain. And he goes, I'll be damned. All right, I guess you're in. You're gonna be an intern though. So like with the first game where you're just kind of like what is it called? You're just kid at a camp and you're just hanging around with all like the other campers. This time, you are an intern hanging out with the other interns. So, unfortunately, most of the like kid characters don't return.
Are there at least like one or two that also made it to like the next level of intern? No,
they're all still at camp. This is, like I said, this is only a few days later. So
okay,
here's where you are. All these kids had their brains stolen 4 days ago. I don't think they're ready to be inside of that fucking HQ. The one cool thing though is that there are like some references in a way. Like you'll see one of the people in the intern is actually Dogen's sister. And Dogen is like one of the best characters from the first game. He's the one who was like, I wear this hat because I killed someone.
Oh, that guy.
Well, actually 4.
Yeah, like the more you heard him, the progressively worse he got.
Yeah. So I think that's cool. I'm literally only just finished the tutorial, and I think I went and did one other thing, but I'm still extremely early on.
Okay.
But it's definitely a much better step than the original gameplay wise.
That's good. I mean, you would hope so, but it's still good that it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all you have to say?
About Psychonauts?
About Psychonauts? Yeah. Is that all you have to say for the rest of the episode?
I would love that. I want to take a nap.
Deathloop. I got an update.
I could throw my update in there, even though I didn't put anything down.
You know, you go ahead. I have much more to say, so just give a little update.
So, I think where we left off last time is that you said that you were at the point where you just fully technically finished the tutorial.
The actual tutorial.
There's the tutorial lasts from beginning to end, and there's a pseudo ending right before the main ending where it's you've done all the stuff you need to, then just do this one last thing, and then you're really done with the tutorial.
Then it's all right, now you can go do whatever.
So at that point, I am now finished the full tutorial, and I'm able to use the Residium and recollect stuff like that.
That's the end of that. There's not much more hand holding it. So you have your quest markers, but it's not the menus popping up saying okay, now go do this.
So then after that, I went to Charlie and did his whole little thing just to get the slab, the shift slab, or Blink, as more people know it as.
From Dishonored, right?
Yeah. So I got that, and then that's all I've done so far.
Okay. So I went in after finishing the tutorial.
Yeah.
And said that I wanted to just explore the maps different times a day because I know things change and just become more familiar with it and try to see what's special about this game.
Yeah.
So I did some exploring. I spent maybe a couple hours doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I found an insanely strong gun.
Yeah.
This Strelak Verso dual pistols. So it's two pistols that you can dual wield.
Dude.
What do you?
The fuck is this fucking?
Can you not open it?
Ah,
there you go.
Jesus Christ, Contigo, make better tops.
So it's two pistols that you can dual wield and shoot both at the same time. But when you do that, you can't aim down the sights.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, you can with a really cool animation. You basically spin the left pistol in your on the spinny pistol thing. Yeah, and then you.
I did a hand gesture.
He did a hand gesture. You spin it, and then you kind of click the back of the left pistol into the front of the right pistol because they have these little kind of Lego-esque divots.
Yeah,
where you can connect it, and then you hold it like that, and it now becomes an SMG, and it is so fucking strong. So auto aim, it does the auto aim thing where when you aim down the sight, it will kind of if you're close enough to an enemy, kind of lock onto them.
Yeah.
So the way it works with this gun is I go to aim down the sights, it locks onto an enemy, and it's just a dead.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly then I let go, do another aim, dead. So I'm just constantly doing that. And before this, I was stealthing around, trying not to get caught. Yeah. Now I'm just running around, just destroying people.
I want to get that weapon because the weapons that I've used so far, even the one that I took off Charlie, is man, these guys are still fucking getting me real good.
So it does not take many shots to kill you.
No,
your health is. I even have one of the little character perk things that gives me 10% more health, which is a nice little chunk on there.
Yeah.
But it's still even with the SMG I'm using, I have to kind of get behind something to peek out, go back, peek out, or else if I'm just standing in the open and doing this, I'm killing a lot of people, but they will take you out pretty quick.
Speaking of those trinkets, I ended up going in and doing the what the fuck?
What?
Editor Al just texted me and he goes, "Do you want a blood oath?" What? Excuse me?
What kind of deals are you making with him?
Sir, I am going to need details. So anyway, I forgot to put on in my loadout the double jump trinket when I went to go in to do Charlie's thing. And I'm going down through Updam, and there's the few sections of cliff that you can kind of get up on to the right and then make your way around. And I'm doing that, and I'm trying to jump. I'm like, uh-oh, what happened? What's wrong? And I'm looking through, I'm like, oh my fucking God, I didn't fucking put the son of a bitch. And I'm like, shit, now what? And I'm like, all right, I really got to stealth now and like figure my way through this.
Yeah, the double jump is at the, because like, it's one of the first ones you get.
Yeah.
And then you can use the Residium to like keep it.
Yeah.
It's at the point now where like, if I didn't have the double jump, it would be bad because I'm so used to it.
Uh-huh. So, and that was also a nightmare because going for Charlie, who has the shift ability, I don't know what you did or if you went to go see him yet, but there's a way that you can go all the way up and like take everyone out and then hop on the roof.
Charlie is like the game he has set up kind of,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay, yeah.
I was able to make it up onto the roof, and then I was going over because he has like a little office building on the roof in the back, and I made it to there, but I don't know what happened. He ended up fucking finding out, and so I'm like right outside the door to get in, just kind of like looting and looking around, and I see his icon is now 50 feet away or 50 meters. I'm like, what happened?
Once you get up to the top, he just kind of spawns.
Well, he was there all along.
Okay, is it just you kind of know where? Because every time. I'll get to it, but I've had to do it a few times, and every time I'm just going in guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
So I just start from the bottom and work my way up to the top, just killing everybody, and then like Charlie kind of appears.
So I was doing that, but in a stealthy way to try to not be seen, and his icon was in like the second to like top floor.
Yeah.
And so I knew that, and I was trying to make my way, but when I got to that room, which he ended up hiding in, I got to the door after looting, and he was already gone. And I'm like, what happened, man? What's going on here? And I just see the icon inside the house shifting through.
Yeah,
and he's so fucking fast. And I'm like, what are you fucking doing? And this is the first time I used the grenade thing where I'm like hiding outside on a rail and I'm just waiting. And I just like do a trip mine on the thing. And I'm just waiting like, come on, get over here, fucking asshole, piece of shit. And boom. And I'm like, yes.
Did it like kill him immediately?
Immediately. I shot him a few times previously, but I'm like, go down. He keeps fucking teleporting.
So maybe it's also because I have a strong gun, but I do kind of like that these people, even though like they have the more powerful slabs, it's like once you have them and you shoot them a few times, they're just dead, just like any other enemy.
Yeah. Wenji was a pain in the ass. I'm like, which one of you? How many? There's so many of you.
So I think no matter what, you have to go through all of them.
There's like they just kept coming. Like I had a few of them, and I was like, all right, I got like 7 icons on my screen.
So it's every time you kill one, and like splits off to more until eventually it like kind of cones into one more. So everything kind of has some good and bad for me. I'm mixed on multiple facets of the game this game. So like once I kind of got this gun and started to explore the other maps some more, I'm pretty familiar with the maps now.
Yeah.
And like the general layout at the very least. That's when I started to follow more of just like the main visionary lines where it will like give you map icons and tell you like what time of day you need to be at this place to go do something. And it gives you a general area where to go, and then you're kind of like, all right, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
So it's fun, and I like having this gun because I feel pretty powerful, and I feel like the how hectic it can get, and the general loop of everything it works for it and against it.
I feel that
because there are times when even when you're stealthy, sometimes it's like you're gonna get caught.
Yeah.
And when that happens, there's a lot of enemies. And sometimes you're in a big fight, and since it doesn't take much to kill you, you're trying to like be good about it. And then Juliana appears.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works in a really cool way. Like I was in Updam, and there's that middle area right outside the library where a lot of enemies can be.
Yeah.
I was in a big fight with them, and I already died a couple times, and I need to do something in the library. And then Juliana appears, and it was like both like a fuck, but also like a, well, I could use this now, because when you kill Juliana and like absorb her Residium, you get your respawns back.
Oh, right.
So
that's, that makes me think of, do you remember in Assassin's Creed Odyssey with their like Nemesis system style thing where you would do something and then like one of the guards, if they were nearby, if you were in the middle of a big fight, they would just run over and just wreck your shit?
No.
You don't remember those things? They were
I didn't play much of Odyssey.
They have them, I think, in the other game, too. There are these mask icons that were there, and they had, like, a nemesis system style thing in Assassin's Creed where you saw the different enemies. You remember in Valhalla, there was like, all right, here's the one for this area, and you just kind of crossed them off the list.
Like the red helmet.
Yeah, they're riding around the horses.
Yeah.
In Odyssey, it was a rotating thing where like you took one out and someone ended up taking their spot. But when you're in the middle of a big fight and one of those things notices and starts heading your way, that just means like, all right, I either gotta get out of here because I'm probably not gonna survive this.
So Juliana is, at least so far, like the beefiest character, as in she takes the most hits to actually take down.
That from when I first saw her, she did.
Yeah.
Like, I'm shooting you in the head a lot, bitch.
And so it was really cool because I managed to, I was having, for whatever reason, I don't know if the health items are like random where they are, or if like the time of day it changes, because I was having a lot of trouble finding health, and I was in a bad way, and I couldn't go to there are like these health pods kind of, where you could just like hold down one of the buttons next to it, and it like fills up your health for you. I couldn't get to that because I was like in the same area with all these enemies and Juliana.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of sneak away with like almost no health and get Juliana to where I was, and I killed her in like a side building, but before I could get a Residium, a whole bunch of other people started to come, so I had to then escape there because I still have like no health.
Yeah.
And then stealth my way back and get a Residium, and then I was back to my lives and everything. That felt really good. Like very satisfying. On the flip side, there are times where you have to go through... Okay, well, first off, I will say, there are some cool set pieces in this game. Charlie's game being one of them.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cool thing. I have gone through that place at least, like, 5 times now. And it can be really annoying when I'm going through it, and then Juliana appears, and bad shit happens, and I die, and then I have to start the loop over again, and then I just have to get back to that time of day for that level, and get right back there and go through the whole thing again when I've already been through this goddamn game, like, at least 5 times, to the point where I went from, like, oh, this place is pretty cool and, like, different, to, oh, I gotta fucking go there again and deal with this shit. And that's not the only place that's like that, where you have to, like, do it. There's been multiple times I've had to go into the same place and go through it again for a different objective.
I'm not surprised by that.
And it's just, the first few times it's like, all right, I'll go through. Now I'm really at the point with some of those areas I'm like, I never want to go there again.
Like I said, I've only done Charlie's thing once, and I've gone through Updam, I think probably 4 times total, just from like going through the tutorial and stuff. And in general, I just get irritated by the excessive use of a map and having to return over and over, because it just feels like I'm not necessarily making progress, even though if they do have a system where it's like, all right, here's another reason to come back here and it's a little different, I'm still doing it again and again and again. And that thought is like the main reason that I've been focusing my attention towards other games, just kind of like letting this sit till I have less going on and or I'm more in a mood to.
Yeah. So that's like, so I'm mixed on like the game with the gameplay itself like that. I mean, actually, like the shooting and the moving around, like, it feels good to play.
They make good feeling games.
It definitely feels good. That's not like it's not like I'm playing combat. I'm like, oh, this feels like shit. It doesn't. It feels good.
Yeah.
Then the story, Colt has it. His voice actor is really good.
Yeah.
And I like the dynamic a whole lot between Colt and Juliana, where it's like at the beginning of everyone, they just kind of talk for a little bit on the walkie-talkie. Basically just talk shit back and forth. But it like progresses more and more a little bit each time. Yeah. I'm liking that. Otherwise, so you're hunting these visionaries because it's all about like breaking the loop with them. You kill them, you break the loop. Yeah. And you have to do it all within like 1 day. So they're like a main focus, and you do throughout the game start learning more about them. But not enough for me to like care about them. Yeah. Like, you kind of learn, like, what type of person they're like. Oh, this person is the kind of weird antisocial scientist. This dude parties a lot and is kind of obnoxious.
There's certain touches like that also make me, like... Remember how I was saying that there are certain things ripped from the Dishonored games that are just straight up ripped and, like, change color? There's one section of the first game where you have to go to a mansion, and there are these women all over the place wearing these masks, the exact same mask like Alexis, and they're all in a party because all they care about is partying, and you got to go around and figure out which one is which and do that. And I'm just like, I guess we're just doing like is this like
it's a greatest
remake?
Hits of Dishonored?
Yeah. And I'm just like, all right, I get most of this is new, but there's so many things that are just returning in a different way, and I'm just like, all right, it's cool, but
so I'm finding that I just kind of like, when it comes to the actual main story, I'm intrigued to see where it goes, but I'm also like, I don't care about these other characters. You barely see them, and when you do, it's usually them like yelling at you as you kill them.
Yeah.
And like that's it.
Again and again and again.
Yeah, you end up having to do it multiple times.
Yeah. Especially if you even just want an upgrade to your slab.
Yeah. So also, there have been a couple times where, so I guess slight spoiler with this, just a little detail, I guess. You find out that Colt's came to this island to be like head of security.
Yeah.
And he played like a pretty integral role in like the setup of everything. He doesn't remember this. So I find like one thing and he's like, well, I always say that was me? God damn it, what the hell? And then like a few hours later, I find a separate thing on another map and he reacts as if he just found out again for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess this is kind of...
in, like, a story piece, or as in, like, just a random collectible with
just
a reused
just like
voice
kind of
line?
a thing I found. This is like another note that didn't advance one of the visionary things, but sometimes they do, so I always, like, read them.
Yeah.
So, it's just, like, little things like that kind of break the immersion a little bit. I understand it's gotta be difficult where you're dealing with a time system like this and multiple maps where you're trying to like lay out this information in such a way.
Yeah, because you never know exactly what the player's going to come across first.
Right. But it was just Colt reacting in a very similar way to a piece of information we already went through together. I know what this is. He knows what this is. It was a little like, oh, okay. Like it just kind of broke the immersion a little bit for me.
All right.
So I'm intrigued. I think I'm getting like, I'm maybe like 2/3 of the way through the game. I'm going to finish it, and I want to know where the main story actually goes, but I see, like, these 10 out of 10 reviews it was getting, I just kind of don't get it.
Yeah.
It's not groundbreaking, and it certainly has its issues. It's fun, I am enjoying it, but maybe I got my hopes up too high with some of these review scores it was getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of disappointed.
I don't know where I sit with it. Because I remember when it was initially coming out, when there was a lot less info on it, and they were just kind of showing aspects of it and not explaining it. Mm-hmm. And I just was looking at it, I'm like, I still have no idea what kind of game this is.
There was a good chunk where every time they showed it, it was like, all right, but what is it?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Here's Juliana, and, like, there's that now, but, like, what does it mean? Like,
yeah.
All right. And when it got closer and closer to, like, it actually explaining what it was, and I was like, I was getting more excited for it. And then I started seeing all the 10 out of 10s, and I was just like, really?
That's why I was like, this game must be doing something really cool.
Like, there's always that one side of me that just, like, is trying to come up with some explanation as to, like, why it could be that instead of it being, a genuinely good game. I'm like, is this because it's, like, it's a brand new, like, PS5 exclusive that's trying things and it's different? Like, or it's just like, oh, here's Arcane with their first big release and whatnot. It's like, what's a real explanation? Because also, with the stuff that I'm seeing, I'm like, all right, there's a lot of copy and paste. There's a lot of there's a certain loop that feels like it's like 90% of the way there.
We're also at a point where we're getting a lot of games that are like time loop focused or run based focused.
Which this is like the fourth big one this year or something. Yeah,
so it maybe that kind of takes away from it feeling like more unique.
Yeah.
But
especially because like I've mentioned before, when it's that first period of like, hey, Dark Souls released. Now for the next 2 to 3 years, it's just going to be Dark Souls clones, and we're going to see who
Which
can
are
do it better.
never nearly as good as like
No, it's during that period where even if a game like stands out, like if that game released years later compared to when it did, it probably could stand out so much more. But people just look at it and just feel exhausted by it already.
Yeah.
And especially for me, literally finishing Forgotten City and then 2 weeks later going into Deathloop after 2 weeks prior playing 12 minutes, I'm like, I don't want this right now.
Yeah. And I think maybe some of those other games handled it a little better than this. Maybe a little less repetitive.
Obviously, each mechanic works.
They're different.
For the way that it's supposed to and whatever story or meaning that it needs, but it still falls into the same category.
I just, like with Charlie's little game thing, I don't know what to call it.
It's LARPing. It's just straight
basically,
up LARPing.
Yeah. I just don't like how you have to like go there multiple times for Charlie shit.
Yeah.
And then you have to go there multiple more times for another thing that's there. Where you have to like go there, you figure it out, and then you have to go back with another thing. And just, I won't really say it, like what it is, but based on what I'm seeing with it, I would not be surprised if I have to go back yet again.
Is it for the rocket?
No, I don't know anything about the rocket.
No? You know,
so maybe I gotta go back again.
You know, like the little, like a little robot dude in the one room in Charlie's
That's
thing?
who I'm talking about.
That you had to go back for?
I had to go back for shit with Alexis. With him.
Having to do with that robot?
Yeah.
Because that robot has to do with the rocket that's sticking out, which you can launch.
Is that for another visionary thing?
I just know it's something that can be done. I have not done anything really with it. So I'm only talking about what I've seen.
Because I had to go there, talk to that robot, leave, get a thing from which the way I'm playing is like kind of guns a-blazing right now.
Yeah.
But this thing I had to get from I guess another slight spoiler if you really don't want to know anything. I had to get like voice clips of Alexis to bring to this robot.
Makes sense.
It could like play a message to try and lure another visionary to the party. So you could get two at once. So like the robot will play this voice clip from the...
Yeah.
It's a fucking Alexis bobblehead that while you're holding, you can't have a gun up.
Of course.
And it does not fucking stop talking.
So you can only hold it in the one hand? You can't have another gun? Or...
You hold it in your right hand, and maybe you can have like a dual-wield gun in the left hand, but I had like the hack-a-ma-jig or whatever it's called. So I'm like, okay, and you can't stealth. Because you're holding that thing, it does not stop talking.
Ugh.
And it's like loud. So I was doing a lot of, all right, I'm starting at the bottom of Charlie's place, throwing it down on the floor, clearing out the next floor of enemies, going back and grabbing it, going up, throwing it down again, clearing it. So if this rocket thing is connected to another vision, I have to go back again.
Our Arcane is one of those devs that like making games with player choice, which is great. But the way the gameplay works is like, all right, let's cause a problem and then just like be like, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Get past it. Just figure it out. There's
Pretty
a way.
much.
And then just be like, yeah, but that doesn't sound fun right now. I'm gonna go play COD.
So yeah, I'm mixed on Deathloop.
Yeah.
Enjoyable overall, but it has its flaws.
I need to play more, but I see a trend starting. I see myself just being like, all right, I'll play one mission in the morning, one mission at night, play something throughout the rest of the day, and then continue on over and over.
Yep, that's all I have to say about it. I don't know if you want to move on to one of your games, because I only have one more.
Well, all right, I'll move on to my other game then. I finished Lost in Random.
Oh, you did? I still haven't played it since last we talked about it.
It is. I think it's good. I think it was around Forberg. So I think I was getting every side collectible or side quest and everything. Up until I think I ended up missing a card in Threedom for some reason, because sometimes just talking to someone you'll get a card, and I missed that because I didn't talk to every single person because I was starting to get bored because these people talk so fucking much.
They talk a lot and repeat a lot of the same stuff.
So it was around Forberg that I was just like, all right, I'm done. Just mainlining the story. I just wanna see what happens, and because I obviously don't want to go too far into it, I overall would give the game an 8. I had a lot of fun with it. I think that towards the end, combat definitely takes like a front seat, and there's a lot more of it, which it's still fun and enjoyable, but at a certain point, like those battles are lasting like over 10 minutes.
Oh wow,
getting close to like 15 minutes. Like I saw reviews somewhere of someone saying like, yeah, they can last up to 20 minutes. I don't remember looking at the clock and seeing how long a battle was, but they definitely started to become more monotonous, because that's like the whole main focus of the game. And towards the end of certain story games, I love that sense of like calm, like you fought a lot, now time for every like loose end to like fall into place. But there was just so much combat towards the end. And without giving away too much for the story, I think that even though it's like a storybook theme that they're going on for, I felt that they really had like a pretty cliched ending. That it was like, yeah, it makes sense, but it's like I feel like the game had a lot more potential that it just didn't meet, and then it just ended really abruptly with a cutscene that was kind of short, and then boom, credits with no end credit scene, no nothing. It was just like, all right. Some things were just kind of like felt like they were left up in the air, and I was just wanted more. I was kind of confused by the end of it, but I was like, whatever. All right.
Okay.
It was good though.
Yeah.
Fun game.
I could definitely see those things being like, all right, I'm done talking to these people. I'm not going to get everything. Or like,
yeah.
If combat is literally lasting for like up to 20 minutes for one fight, that's a lot.
Some of it is a real pain in the ass because I don't know how the code works for like making crystals spawn on enemies, but I'm running around, I'm like, you don't have a crystal, you don't have a crystal, you don't have. It's like a minute into the fight, I'm like, you don't have a crystal, you don't have. This one flying enemy has a crystal, and it just keeps dive bombing attacking me, and I'm trying to hit it and I keep missing. And then once I get that one, then they start popping up with more. I'm like, can you just give me something to work with here?
That's I don't know.
Fun game though. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I definitely like. It's not that I haven't played it because I'm like, oh, I'm done with it. It's just so much going on that every time I sit down to play something, it's like I need like a big dartboard. Like, all right, which of these like 5 million games am I gonna play? And fucking just gonna get worse still.
Yeah. Last thing I want to go over is I put a good amount of time into that COD beta.
Right. Yeah.
I think this is the most fun I've had in a COD multiplayer since like Black Ops 3.
So when it comes out, I know you're gonna do the story.
Yeah.
But do you actually plan on like sitting down for a long period of time, just like with the multiplayer still?
I think so. I think I'm definitely gonna give it more of a try than I did with Cold War. I'm curious because I played a majority of the beta on PlayStation because that's where it was first open. And when I transitioned over to Xbox, I don't know if like my controller, I just use it a lot or whatnot, but it just didn't feel as good, like especially in like the aiming with the right stick. Like it felt really good with the PlayStation controller, but when I was moving back over to Xbox, something just felt wrong, felt off. So I'm probably still going to end up getting it for Xbox so I can play it as I do with all my other games, but I'm like, I kind of want to play more on PlayStation. I had a more fun time with the multiplayer. Do you think it's
just the with like, was it like haptic feedback shit or?
No, it was just with like, I think the stiffness of the right stick and just the clarity when it came to aiming. Because I have a Control Freak add-on on my Xbox controller that I was playing with, and then I would just take it off occasionally, and it still didn't feel right. But that
weird.
I had a lot of fun with that beta. It felt, even though it's running on the Modern Warfare engine, it felt more like a classic COD than any of the other ones have been. With Modern Warfare 2019, it was so tactical, and even some of Cold War just didn't feel the same as like older CODs. But this just feels like I'm running in, I'm just cannon fodder, I'm being blown to bits, and a few seconds later, I'm running back out there.
So yeah, like I don't have a lot of experience with Call of Duty multiplayer. The most I did was probably Modern Warfare. Yeah, but that was just kind of like, that's what everyone did at the time.
Everybody.
But when I think of Call of Duty multiplayer, if I'm going to play it, I'm not sitting here like, I want to do some sort of tactical thing and try to... I'm like, no, I want to spawn and just run.
I want to
just
start
shooting people.
And then come back.
Probably die pretty quick, and then within like a few seconds, be doing it again.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And then at the end, I just want to see my name towards the top of the rankings.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're in the vast minority when it comes to that because
Are we?
every
Really?
every single person loved Modern Warfare in 2019. They all got addicted to Warzone. Warzone feels the exact same way, and it's all that like tactical. I'm gonna go up to this corner. I'm gonna like focus in and like angle my gun and like wait and like.
I mean, for like a battle royale, I get that. But if I'm just playing like straight up Call of Duty multiplayer, not the battle royale Warzone shit,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to like
Which is what
let
this
me
is.
run in, do team deathmatch nonsense.
Which is all I did. I don't think I did anything but play TDM because I'm just a casual player and I just had the most fun doing that.
I mean, like I'm also like I'm okay. I know some of them become more like objective based.
Yeah.
Where it's like you have to like move this thing to another spot while the other team tries to defend it.
That's another trend, like Overwatching them. I hate that mode, that escort bullshit. I love TDM, free for all, domination, hardpoint, and any form of gun game.
Oh, gun game's always fun.
That's just the most fun.
But as long as the general theme of, all right, I'm just gonna run out there and shoot some people, die, and be right back into it. As long as that theme stays, that's what I would want from. I'm probably not gonna sit down and play this Call of Duty multiplayer.
Yeah.
But that's what I would want from it.
If I get the itch, I'm definitely gonna be going to this one. And I think it was like my third or fourth game on. I tweeted out I had that one really good game where I ended up going 34-7. And after not playing COD for like years and just hopping in, it just felt so normal and it just felt so good. And then seeing that, I was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. This is good. I like this.
Cool. That story looks pretty fun.
I hope so, because compared to World War II, I did not get the sense that I wanted compared to World at War, which I still believe has probably the best campaign for Call of Duty. To me, it just the atmosphere and then everything just felt so good down to the music and everything. And World War II didn't do that for me. So I'm hoping that Vanguard could. I don't think it will.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Does that leave us both with the last game?
Oh, yeah. Got to save the best for last.
Eastward.
So
You're
good.
further than me.
So good.
But yeah, this game is really good.
I don't know how much more I can just like reiterate the same stuff. I've been on this game for years, looking at it, waiting for it, and now that it's finally out, I don't think I'm 7 hours in at this point. There's not a single thing that I'm upset with.
I mean, yeah.
Even when I'm dying, like back to back in certain situations, I'm like, what did I do wrong? Let's do it. Let's figure it out. Let's get back in there. I'm having way too much fun, and everything about it is just so incredible, and the style and charm and the like the care put into all the characters and everything. Like, I'm just so happy playing this game.
Yeah, this game, like, I'm pretty sure the wording I used when I wrote the blog post for this episode was that this game is just oozing with charm.
Yep.
It is just, everything is charm.
That's literally whatever. I wrote oozing with style and charm.
That's funny that we both wrote that.
Yeah, because
It's true, though. Like,
it's overflowing. There's just so much, like, in every aspect of, like, the animations, of the mirroring of, like, the personality of a character and, like, the shop that they run. Like, everything has character and some sort of, like, aspect that just stands out.
So, all right, so you're playing as this dude, John.
This gruff, like, mute, grizzly man.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything, and he's like, you're in this underground mining town, and he's like the star miner. He's like kind of a legend, but at the same time,
like an outcast.
He's like an outcast, and he's like, he sleeps in.
Yeah.
He's always late for work. But he's also like, but John's the best.
He's the only one that can handle this situation.
And you have this little girl, Sam, with you. It's white hair, and she... I don't know if you've gotten answers to this. You, like, mined her up from this, like, pod or something. You're, like, the first person to find a human. I'm like, okay, I guess that's a thing.
So, that being based off the intro, like, cinematic before you even hit start, I think that stuff entails with things later in the game.
Okay.
I think that is a specific scenario later in game than what has already happened.
So, okay, but there is a line of dialogue I got where they were like, gee, he was the first one to get a person like this.
It's weird.
I assume there's like more answers to
there's so many things that are happening that I'm just still getting more and more confused about, that I'm just like, at some point
I'm sure they're setting it up for answers. So you're like her caretaker. You're not her dad, but you're like,
what I count it as is, it is like the best version of the of that you can do in 2D of the formula that is The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Sam and John are just Joel and Ellie.
Basically, but less like negative tension between them.
Well, John can't fucking say anything.
That's true, but Sam also like loves John.
Yeah, they're just happy and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's that exact formula. Mm-hmm. Also, same thing with like God of War and with Atreus and him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, there's not that like Sam's never like, well, fuck you, John. You're not my dad.
No.
At least not up to this point.
It's just here's the big guardian and here's the little kid.
Yeah. So you're in this underground mining town ruled by this mayor where it's essentially a dictatorship.
Yeah.
He's a huge piece of shit. He basically just comes around like if you don't have the right enough like mining resources that you did, he'll dock your pay.
He's really got to be the one in power. Like he fucking feeds off the control.
And when I say you're underground, you're like underground
in pot crock Isle.
Yeah, and they're fucking from like a little age in school teaching all of you like the above ground doesn't exist, or it's like fucked up, it's bad, you have to stay here.
It is like an extremely sheltered, controlled town.
Yeah, and it just like brainwashing these kids from school. Like if you even talk about like, I want to go to the surface, you're like being thrown in prison essentially.
There's later towards the end of chapter 1, there's a funny little thing that made me think of the Forgotten City, where there's this thing called Charon, Charon, where they're like, all right, if you piss me off, that's it. You know where you're going. You're going to see Charon. And what they think is like they're being kicked out of town and like that's it. They're basically gonna die. They're so sheltered they don't realize that Charon is a train. It's a subway system that is on like a track that is going in circles. Mm-hmm. And at the end of one section, John finds like the shifter to change the track, and he changes it. And as you're being thrown in there, you're just on the train and you're leaving. So you get like the best case scenario out of it. But these people are so sheltered they literally know nothing.
No.
Well, they know video games.
They know one, Earthborn.
Yeah.
Which is we'll circle around on that. But yeah, so Sam starts seeing these visions of a red version of herself, basically like, yo, go up to the surface.
Yeah.
They're lying. Get out of here.
And Sam's like, I've been there before. I know shit. And people are like, fuck you. Surface is scary. Get the fuck out of my face.
So, yeah, you eventually... It's not spoilers. It happens very early.
Yeah.
And it's very obvious. Of course, you're breaking out of this mining town.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to the world. And you're with this other character who's like, we're done for. We're dead. And then you're just on the train looking out on the world. And he's like, oh, my God. And then you're going to the next town. He's like, oh, but I knew it. We're dead.
He's like a overdramatic court jester.
Yeah.
Type dude.
I really love the art style.
Yes.
It's very like... So, when it comes to a lot of the dialogue and the art style, this game has some very clear inspirations from Earthbound.
Yes.
And when I wrote the blog, the way I wrote it was, it is like that 2D art style, but the way that they can take such a simple art style and have these characters really like express themselves and get emotion across, I can only imagine how difficult it is, and they fucking nail it.
There's two aspects of that I cannot stop thinking about, and one of them is they have like the base pixel art 2D art style, but they throw in like regular visual graphic like dynamic god rays that are just like shining down.
Yeah. Yep.
And they feel so natural because that's just like a normal like ray of light that's coming down. But like you see it like hitting half of their body and like they change its color. You could see like the different tones that are going on around them. And the way that they're able to do detail is, I love when John is just running, he immediately just throws his hands in his pockets of his vest and is booking it. But once you can feel the air is different and like there's a serious moment, his hands are at his sides and he's only walking slowly. And that little bit of detail, I can just tell like of exactly how he's thinking. And like things have changed. Like it's not the same. And like he's more vulnerable and whatnot. Just those kind of things.
Also with Sam,
yeah,
they just like immediately, she's fucking adorable.
Yeah.
Like if you get like an item she's really excited about, she does like a little animation towards the screen, and it's just like, it's so cute.
Yeah.
And then she like gets really excited about different like animals she sees out in the world, and it's just the way that like and it could also be like a little jingle type of music plays when like something is like kind of lighthearted and nice is happening and Sam's all happy.
Yeah.
The way it all works together, it just like, it's such that they're not like using models that are crazy 3D models that look like real people.
Yeah.
That are like giving you facial expressions where you can see their emotion. But the way they do it with this 2D art style, like sprite based.
Yeah.
They make emotion come across so well.
There's so much detail. You see the little, like, the bits of hair just moving. Mm-hmm. There's one part where a character in chapter 2, you see them, like, not like the model turn, but like the actual character like spin around, like starting at the top and going to the bottom, and you can see the detail of how the pixels are moving as the character is like turning their face instead of like the model just flipping 180, and it's like it all fits, it works, it looks great, it's satisfying, like the motion that they can express.
Didn't you say that this was this studio's first game too?
Yes. They've been working on this since like 2015.
I mean, I get it, because clearly, like, the people that worked on this game, like, put so much love into this game.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a cash-in of, like, we're going to make one of those old 2D.
Yeah.
It clearly has, like, 2D Zelda inspirations, Earthbound inspirations, but they put their own mark on it.
Yeah.
In a way that it works.
This game is incredible.
It's really good.
I literally cannot stop, like, just thinking about it. Or, like, I'm at work, I'm playing it, I'm at home, like, I just pick up the Switch, I sit down on the couch, I'm just going, like, I want to know what's next, and I've only still feel like I've scratched the surface. I'm at the beginning of chapter 3, I'm 7 hours in, and I just know there's so much more ahead of me, and
yeah, not even halfway.
not even a third of the way. It's crazy.
So combat is where it becomes more Zelda-like.
Yeah.
It's like literally you're going into like these little dungeons, if you will. They're not like classic Zelda dungeons, but they're dungeons.
Like you're going down into the forest. Like the town is the town, and that's where you're staying, and it all feels normal. And then it's like, all right, don't go into the forest. Oh, you got to go into the forest. It's like you can tell, like, all right, this is a dungeon. That's the whole point of this area.
You're gonna go
to do
through
this.
it. The combat for me right now, where I'm at, is my least favorite part of the game, and it's not bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't like feel bad. It's just a little too much. So you don't have a sword, you have a frying pan. And it's a little too much of me just hitting the button to swing the frying pan back and forth and whack the enemies, and that's just kind of it.
Yeah.
The bosses, so I've done 2 bosses so far. I'm liking those a lot more.
Yes.
Because it's more puzzly. And the puzzles within the dungeons themselves, especially when Sam gets more involved, I'm digging that. Yeah. I like the puzzles. They're like the perfect puzzles where it's like, all right, I see what we're going for here. It's not too hard, but I have to think about it, especially like with finding a way to get to some of the chests and stuff.
Yeah. Those can be fucking tricky.
Some of them, yeah.
I literally look off and I'll see like an indent and I'll go like, I could probably walk through that. And I'll just try and I'll stop and I'll be like, I guess not.
I probably have missed some stuff, especially because some of the side rooms where it's literally like to the left or to the right, the only way you know you can go in there is like some light is kind of shining through in a way.
Yeah.
So some of it is like, I guarantee I've missed shit. But yeah, you get like or very early on, you can buy like a treasure tracker.
Yeah, which helps.
It helps a lot. Where if there's a chest somewhere like within your vicinity, it starts like beeping, and the closer you get, the more it beeps.
They really hide those things. I've had to come across one where I've had to like go up to it and like drag it out and then be able to open it. Like it's behind something. Besides the frying pan, though, you also get a set of bombs that you can place down.
Zelda, very Zelda.
Yeah. So you place down the bombs, and after you do like one of the first few missions, you can upgrade your frying pan to do like a charge hit, which you can hit the bomb over to a certain area and have it hit the enemies and this and that, which you can upgrade the bombs. There's also different types of bombs you can get. So
I'm not there yet.
Neither am I, but I level up the bomb, and I thought, because it shows 3 bombs next to each other, I'm like,
how do you level up the bomb?
You just gotta like go and like purchase an upgrade.
Oh, okay.
So I did that, and then I realized that it didn't take up the second bomb slot. I'm like, oh, there's just more than one type of bomb. Okay. And there's also a total of 4 different weapons for John, including the frying pan.
Really?
I have 3 of them.
Are those 2? Do you find them or are you buying them?
You're finding them.
Okay, as part of like the main.
Yes.
Okay.
I will say later in the game, there are certain sequences, semi-combat, semi-puzzly, that kind of feel like Resident Evil. Where there are certain enemies in the way, and I could avoid them, and it feels like the kind of thing where it's like, in no other way to describe them, they feel like Resident Evil zombies. They're sluggish, they move around, they can really cause some damage to you, and they're kind of real tough, and they're spongy, but then also like you could just try to avoid them and just like that just move on.
So I will say, because it's not like you're getting experience points and leveling up. So I am exploring each area, and typically the first time I'm like in a room, let's say, some of them can be like kind of big.
Yeah.
I'll like kill all the enemies as I'm exploring, but then as I have to go through there maybe a couple times, I just start running by shit.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
You've already done everything you had to.
Yeah, so like I basically, because I want to explore in peace for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'll like kill all the enemies and then see like, all right, what are these little hidden rooms? What can I find?
Well, the like origin of the combat I could see how it become like a little tedium with just like running through, just whacking things and just being done with it. I like the enemy variety where in one of I think the second main section that you start seeing like the flies as enemies like walking around, and you see there's these little like shadow marks on the ground, and a larva will fall on the ground, and if you don't take it out fast enough, it will turn into a fly. You just have another fly going around.
It's kind of like there's another point with like these little, they're like Godzilla eggs all over the place, or alien eggs.
Yeah.
And if you don't take the eggs out quick enough, enemies like multiple will come out. Or you can take out the egg and like maybe one will come out.
There's one enemy that I really fucking hate. It's a walking, I don't know if you've come across it. It's a walking mushroom. And
I don't think so.
There's normal little baby mushrooms that take one hit to whack, and then there's a bigger one. And if you don't take out that bigger one fast enough, it'll make its distance and have like 9 babies.
Oh wow.
And then it'll just walk away, and then you got to take those down, and if you don't take it out fast enough, more babies.
Okay.
It's a pain.
Yeah.
But it's still fun.
And yeah, when I say like the combat is my least favorite part, it's not like it doesn't feel bad by any means.
No.
It's not like I'm like running around swinging this pan. Like it works totally fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel bad by any means. It's just a little like I want some more depth. And I do think it's kind of getting there, as even like some of these second chapter dungeons or late first chapter dungeons are already becoming a little more focused on the puzzle aspect.
Yeah. With
like some enemies laying about to the point where like you're just kind of running through and there's some enemies, you just kind of whack them real quick and move on to like do a puzzle. And really strong so far. I have a ways to go. You have a bit of a ways to go as well.
Yeah.
But I already am feeling like something with like these last couple months with some indie games are like killing it.
Yeah.
So like between this, The Forgotten City, Road 96, it's like, man, really some strong contenders that are not the big AAA games.
No, but they have the effort put into them that feels like they should be.
Yes. And like at this point, indie games are different than they were like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like you can just indie games. I feel can be so strong that
they're on
can
another
be
level.
Yeah, they're different than AAA. You're going to them for different things usually, but yeah, it's some really strong indie games this year.
Like we said, that we still have some time left to go. I am a massive fan of this game, and I literally can't stop thinking about it. If I don't know how it ends, or anything, or what happens in the story, if I ever win the lottery, I'm going and I'm gonna be like, "Here's money, make another one." I will be your
fund the
sole
second
investor. Just fucking go and fucking make this game and make it great again, and I'll buy it again.
Even if you're the sole investor,
I'll fucking buy it again.
I think you'll have a free copy of the game.
Don't care. It's so good.
It is really good.
I love it.
I definitely strong recommend on this one.
Absolutely, and it's so cheap.
What was it? 20?
It's like, well, they had a little
we both did the pre-order sale.
But even so, it's $25. This
$25,
is a 30
okay,
to 40 hour JRPG fucking super well constructed art.
That you're not wrong.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good word for this.
Yeah.
I think that's it for games.
Hey, we should stop, or else I'll keep going. I'll just keep praising this game.
On to news?
Remember
when we said we were going to have news music forever ago?
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, us personally.
Yeah, we're finishing up the final details now.
I'll just jump into it. Nintendo has added Bluetooth to the Switch.
Whoopie-doo!
You can use Bluetooth headphones now. Apparently, since all it needed was a software update, it's had this capability the whole time.
Which I did see, which is stupid.
It's just...
But also such a Nintendo thing.
Also, I was going to say, it's so Nintendo that we're in 2021, we're sitting here, the Nintendo Switch can use Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah.
The fact that that's newsworthy is just so fucking Nintendo.
Speaking of which, they have a direct coming out later today,
yes.
that we're recording this, tonight at 6 p.m. And at Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, where they're going to be going over most of the stuff releasing later in the year. And I could just imagine if they're coming out and then you just hear the we forgot. And then just move on talking about the Bluetooth thing. Whoops. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll talk about the Direct next week.
Yeah.
All what's shown there. You want to talk about something?
You remember Fire Sprite? The newly acquired PlayStation studio?
Was this the VR one?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're reportedly making a new AAA narrative adventure. And that's what they're going to be focusing on.
Okay. Sure.
Cool. There's been a lot of acquisitions, and then you just hear about, hey, AAA, open world, AAA, big adventure game. Cool.
Yeah.
Just throw them in the mix.
We got some more DokeV information.
Oh.
That, I don't know. I'm not always going to put stuff like this in news, but this is a game I'm very intrigued about and I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So the lead producer of DokeV, Sang-Yum Kim, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. They did a little interview with IGN, and we got some info on the game.
Tell me.
Let me break this down for you. Apparently, when at the Summer Game Fest, it was the opening event. That's where it was shown, right?
Was it?
I think it was shown at the Summer Games Fest opener thing. Either way.
Yeah.
Where
it feels like it was shown a lot more recently.
No, it was during that period.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, apparently that wasn't the actual announcement of it. I don't know how much was shown. It was an MMORPG originally.
It was at Gamescom 4 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, you win.
I usually do.
You're better with time than me.
I know.
So it was an MMORPG originally, not this action adventure game.
Yeah.
And apparently just with the vision, the game is switched. But it will still have some PvE and PvP stuff that seems kind of optional. It doesn't seem like PvE. It doesn't seem like someone can play the whole game with you co-op style. It seems like it's a separate like
a GTA Online lobby type deal.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's like go take on these bosses or something. Like it's not like a thing. And I don't know what the PvP situation is. I didn't really go into depth with it. But I would imagine again like a whole separate thing. Yeah, they describe PvP as having elements of sportsmanship. That's what we got about PvP.
Like,
I don't know.
Good game.
The monsters are called Dokebi. Not Dokev, Dokebi.
Okay.
And a lot of them are inspired by like Korean folklore.
Okay.
And other ones are just like shit they made up. But it's not like apparently they're not just used for fighting like in Pokemon.
Yeah.
And they're not just known. Like it's like you think Pokemon, everyone like fucking knows Pokemon when you're in the Pokemon world. They're like a huge aspect of society.
Yeah.
Very few people know about Dokebi in this world. And even the people that have heard of Dokebi, most of them don't believe that they're real.
So what happens when some kid on a fucking jet ski is riding around with a Dokebi?
I don't know what the deal is, why you can see them. But apparently Dokebi are made from people's dreams.
So just imaginary friends.
So the way he described it was, imagine you're a kid and you want to be a boxer, but your parents won't let you. So you dream of being a boxer. That's where like the bear dude with boxing gloves, like that's how he comes to reality.
I want to be a boxer so bad. I'm
Damn
Mike
it,
Tyson,
Mom.
but I'm a bear. Watch out for the fifth.
It's like if Mike Tyson couldn't be a boxer because of his parents,
Yeah.
then the Dokebi comes to this reality.
And he just sits there drinking Mike's Hard Lemonades all day because he couldn't be a boxer.
What we saw of they showed like 2 cities in the trailer thing. That's less than 10% of like the actual full game.
Okay.
So it's apparently a pretty large map. He said that they went around on a bike and just went around the whole island. He didn't give an exact time frame how long it took, but he said it took quite a while to like get around the whole map. And right now the plan is to have night and day cycles with different seasons and different weather elements. But he also noted, we're still in development. I can't promise that's going to happen, but we're working on it. I think that all sounds cool.
I still want to know what it is.
I know enough about it to know I love it.
I saw skateboarding, which means I'm going to try it. But then besides
I mean, it
that,
doesn't seem like it's like a go up this ramp and bust out tricks type of thing.
No. Any game that has the transportation mode of skateboarding, though, is just, that's all you need from me.
You should check out Neo, The World Ends With You, where one of the pins you use is you ride around on a skateboard and run into enemies.
Is it just moving around?
Yeah.
In the 2D plane?
It's not 2D.
Oh, in World Ends With You?
Yeah.
All right, that
game
could
is
be okay.
fully 3D, but that's not how you traverse. It's when you're in like the little battle arenas. And you just run into enemies with it and do some damage.
You know Quantic Dream?
Oh, I know Quantic Dream.
They might be making a Star Wars game.
Apparently.
Some people saying they definitely are, and it's been a thing for 18 months.
So this YouTuber Gautaz was talking about, but then DualShockers was also like, yeah, we're hearing the same shit.
Yeah.
So, sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Is it going to be a Quantic Dream Star Wars game? That'd be cool.
What do you mean?
Like along the same lines as Heavy Rain in Detroit.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're not, like, as tied to PlayStation anymore, so, like, I don't know who knows, like, what PlayStation was asking from them. Mm-hmm. But I would imagine so.
It'd be cool.
I'm down.
Make me Obi-Wan. And make me a run around and...
Make me Obi-Wan and make me run around.
That's it.
That's kind of all I have for news other than the THQ Nordic event.
I got a few small things. Apparently, the Sony Pictures CEO, get ready to butcher this up, Tony Vince Acquera, he said expect more game acquisitions into the Sony family.
Okay. I have mixed feelings about all this.
Why?
Because, like, it is interesting and cool to be like, oh, what? This studio was bought by PlayStation or Xbox. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's just creating more and more exclusives.
Yeah.
Which just kind of like, for people like you and me, where we're going to have everything and be able to play everything, it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
But for other people who maybe can't afford to have multiple consoles or different ways to play, it can kind of suck.
Yeah, and then you look at like the indie dev side, and it's like, oh fuck, we're being picked up by PlayStation. And
yeah, I'm sure it's good for them because usually they end up with quite a bit of money and much more support and just security, which that's good. That's all good.
They were saying in an article that like while they have the space of like shows, movies, and the other like entertainment stuff they do, that like gaming is just like an obvious rising factor that they can't ignore, and the inevitability is it's like we're gonna start focusing more attention towards that, and it just makes sense to acquire more studios.
It does, and I think another reason I'm kind of mixed on it is I really fucking hate the like console fanboy war that you see on social media constantly.
Yeah,
and like I get having a preference. I don't have a strong preference either way. I think that between like Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, they all have their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
I like certain things about all of them and dislike certain things about all of them.
They all have the reasons as to why I own them.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But just to see that weird attachment to like, fucking, you see PlayStation bought this studio, fucking Xbox is done, it sucks. It's like, why? You like PlayStation, that's great. Play PlayStation games, no one's stopping you.
It's like the most
like that?
pain in the ass constant of like, oh, like I got a tweet from PlayStation. They announced the release date of this game I've been wanting. Time to absolutely scroll down and see like 8 PlayStation's better than Xbox or Xbox better than PlayStation.
Yeah, like why is that though? Why can't you just be like, cool, I like this game? Like,
how do you people have so much goddamn free time that you can just cause
so,
problems?
So much hate towards another way to play games.
Which causes another group of people that also has way too much free fucking time to be like, you know what? I'm going to reply and be like, no, everybody's great. Everybody's love. I'm happy that you like what you like and that I like what I like. And then someone under is like, yeah, fucking Crash Bandicoot's butt stinks.
Fucking got him.
Get him. PlayStation's better.
That's the thing. That's really what it is. I hate seeing like cool news about something on like Twitter.
Yeah.
And wanting to see what people are saying, and it's just that fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Let's butcher this one. You know Marcus Leto?
Not by name.
He's the co-creator of Halo, and also
I know Halo.
He was the he was behind the dev studio that made Disintegration.
What?
You remember Disintegration? It was the first game by this studio. It was on like the giant hover bikes.
Oh, is this like kind of Halo looking game?
Yeah, like you were on these hover bikes, but you also had like a squad like underneath you that you commanded and did stuff.
Didn't you play this game and not really like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He put out a post teasing his next project, saying that it will be divisive. He goes on to say like, some of you will support me and others will not.
Okay.
That's all we get.
Got me kind of curious as to what the hell that could mean.
Yeah, that's all I know. Just like, yeah, you might like it, you might hate it. I'm making a game though. Right. Besides, speaking about acquisitions, Netflix has just collected the entire catalog of Roald Dahl.
What's that?
Roald Dahl, he was an author. You might know him from Fantastic Mr. Fox, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach.
I saw the Charlie and the Chocolate. Yeah, that Netflix. Is that official? Last I saw it was like, it looks like it's going to happen.
Netflix has acquired the entire catalog of Roald Dahl.
So does that mean
to make TV shows, movies, and games with them?
So does this mean like the only way to watch Willy Wonka's on Netflix now?
I don't know if necessarily that, but like any like creative process from this point on will be solely controlled by Netflix, based off his estate.
Okay.
So if we...
I feel like I keep hearing about like Netflix games being a thing, and then like...
That's because it's still so early and they keep really pushing. There are, I think, what was it? It was like Norway or Denmark or like Iceland or some shit. There was some country out there that had access to playing both the Stranger Things 3 on like Netflix, just straight up like click on to Netflix, click on the game, and then just play it.
So that's what I was gonna ask. Like these Netflix games, are they gonna be like almost like its own like thing where like, oh, you can play this Netflix game on PlayStation and Xbox, or is it gonna be straight up? No, I log into Netflix, I hit it, and it just streams the game to me.
I would assume it's streaming.
Interesting.
But I don't know, like, it's still so early, I don't know what they're going to do with it at any point.
Yeah, I just keep feeling like I'm seeing something like Netflix games, and there's just, like, nothing to actually do.
I mean, fingers crossed that they're still working on the Stranger Things,
the
Telltale version.
Because didn't they actually, like, get the rights to do that game or something? Well, I guess it's Stranger Things, so... Telltale
got the ability to work on the licensed product, but after the... flame and fire that was, Netflix still held the rights to it and could still do what they want, assumedly hired a few people and kept working on it in secret.
Hopefully, yeah.
But I'm curious to see what kind of games that they would come out with based on those properties, and I'm also waiting for the inevitable, here's Willy Wonka hanging out with a fucking demo dog, or here's James and the Giant Peach, and you know what, Elle's there too, just cause.
They're going to start their own Netflix cinematic universe.
That's what it feels like.
I mean, I could see it. Everything wants to be a cinematic universe since Marvel, so...
Or maybe they're going to do the Roald Dahl cinematic universe, just cause. And I think that was the last bit of news that I had.
You want to talk about THQ then?
Let's talk about THQ then.
THQ Nordic had a 10th anniversary event. You actually watched this?
Yes.
I didn't. I just kind of, afterwards, went through and saw what was there.
I think they had some interesting stuff, but I thought it was just like a plain event.
A lot of it seemed to be sequels to games that I either never heard of or don't really care about.
Yeah.
Starting with a game we pretty much already knew about, Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, which is the remake.
Yeah.
That PlayStation already leaked out themselves.
Whoops.
Yeah.
After that, we got a sequel to Outcast, which ended up getting is a 1999 game released, and it got a 2017 remake. And this new one, Outcast 2: A New Beginning, seems to take everything about that remake and just improve on it, because based on the gameplay that was showed and how the 2017 one works, it just looks like a whole different game.
Was this the one you were showing me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that remake of that I get it's a 1999 like open world game, so
yeah.
like,
it's not
compared
like
to
from
modern
the ground
day,
up remade, but like quality of life, and it looks like as good as it can.
But still, like that compared to what you were showing me of the new one was like, okay, yeah, this looks like it's gonna at least play a lot better.
Yeah,
or at least more modern.
After
that, Jagged Alliance 3. I've never heard of these games. This is the third one, apparently. It's a sequel to the 1999 Jagged Alliance 2.
Yeah, there was a much more recent Jagged Alliance thing that came out. It was like a remake or some other...
It wasn't like an actual sequel.
No.
It's like a tactical RPG from what I was seeing.
We got Expeditions Rome, which is another, what was it, like a Civ type game?
From what I was reading about, it seems like another like tactical RPG type of game, but it's the RPG in the sense of like every little decision you make has an impact and will matter.
Yeah.
Like one of those.
And here's an Expeditions game, but it's focused on Rome.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
MX versus ATV Legends. They're still making MX ATV games.
Yep. I mean, you got the fucking that monster whatever game where it's just all on dirt bikes and you're just going on tracks. Those are getting real popular again.
It's weird because like in like the PS2 era, there were like so many fucking MX ATV games.
It's just the era.
I didn't know this was still a thing.
Mm-hmm. We got Superpower 3, which is one of those like world sim games of just like war.
Sure.
Yeah.
Elix 2. You'll have more because you actually played Elix, right?
I played some of the original. it's one of those games where I like being able to complete areas and move on, and this is one of those games where it's like, all right, here's a massive like enemy that you just can't take down, and it's also like 50 feet away from your next objective, so you just gotta worry about that and maybe come back later and deal with it. It's one of those RPGs where you gotta scale with the levels and then go back and do anything else you want to, and the way that it was ordering itself objectively, I just kind of got real burned out and not really knew what to do next.
Wasn't it also super buggy?
Fucking damn it.
What is going on over there?
This fucking cord is wrapped around. I got a cramp going on my calf and I'm kicking the mic left and right. What'd you say?
It wasn't as super buggy. Wasn't there a lot of like T-posing or characters just like spinning around?
The game didn't feel good. Animations and the combat was super stiff and like real like janky. And it looks like the second one is again trying to improve on those things, but I really don't know how much. I know for a fact that based on how Elex 1 plays, I will never finish it.
Okay.
I just cannot see myself going back to doing all of that over again. Mm-hmm. But I'd be curious to like see reviews for the second one and if they improved it in a way that I would like want to try again.
Yeah,
because I had a lot of like hype for Elex and then it burned me.
Do you know if this is like a direct sequel where like you have to have played the first one for the story, or possibly?
I think it might pertain with the same character. I think the idea is really cool, having. Because it's an idea that I've always wanted, which is like, here's a mix of all in the same map, super advanced like sci-fi technological shit, along with like super olden medieval like using bows and arrows and that, and then like another like just like more modern day like military combat, and there's just you could do so much different stuff, but it just feels like it's just needed a few more years. In the Stern Bowl. What?
You're next.
Oh, right.
Last one.
Yeah, this is a new SpongeBob game. SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake, which is just SpongeBob SquarePants ripped apart. It's
kind of. I mean, I seem to be playing like a greatest hits type of thing.
Yeah, going
the show.
All the different like big moments, like when he's like playing for like the marching band in front of the whole stadium and all this other stuff, but it's just portals, like Rick and Morty portals popping open of them just going through stuff.
They didn't show any gameplay. Do we know if this is another like 3D platformer like Bikini Bottom?
If I had to guess, probably, because I don't know what other thing that they would do.
It is the makes sense thing of, we remade this game, now we're gonna do another one.
Yeah, which is THQ's whole shtick.
Which
fucking means I'm still goddamn waiting on my next Red Faction game. Hello. Fucking let's fucking re-release. I fucking remember too when they re-released Red Faction Guerrilla, the remastered edition, which I easily played through again when that came out, but I'm just like, I know for a fact that they're fucking doing this to see if people really want a sequel, and I definitely want a goddamn sequel.
Maybe no one else did.
I fucking do, and that's enough. Fine.
You want
me to win the lottery? I'll do all this shit. Listen, if anyone out there still worked on the original Prey 2, I got money coming your way if I win.
I don't know if that can happen.
I'll fisticuffs Todd Howard to fucking make it happen. Put me and Todd Howard in a room and I'll show him how well it works.
That was THQ Nordic.
Lastly, leaving off, saying that out of like the 42 games that they're working on right now, they still have 28 unannounced titles being developed.
Yeah, and no, this wasn't a huge event.
No.
It was a lot of just like, I'm sure there are some games here that people care about.
People were super in the chat, like, where's my Darksiders information? I want Darksiders 4. Where's Darksiders the end?
People are like, I think Darksiders, especially 1 and 2, are like enjoyable.
Absolutely.
People are into like Darksiders. They're like into it.
Yeah, and I could see that aspect, but I didn't like 3 and I didn't like Genesis or whatever it was.
I didn't play 3 or the Diablo Darksiders, but
yeah, no. I did not like those. The second one is the best. I love Darksiders 2. It is great.
I don't remember the games too well. I know I beat both of them.
Yeah.
I remember liking them.
Yeah. They feel like kind of those like AA games that like you played back in the day and just kind of like forgot about.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about some notable game releases?
Let's talk about some notable game releases. Upcoming September 23rd. Today, we got a few things coming out. Diablo 2 Resurrected finally releases. Mm-hmm. Give Blizzard some money if you want. Up to you.
Yeah, there's many reasons why there's something to consider there.
But at the end of the day, if you're just buying a game to buy a game and you just don't care about anything like that, then no one's going to fault you because there are people out there too.
No, I don't think you should be shamed for buying the game. No. But there are certainly reasons why you would maybe consider not.
Yeah. That's coming out on PC, PS5, PS4, Series X, Xbox One, and Switch. More importantly, the much bigger release in my mind is Sable.
Yeah, that's today. You're squeaking over there.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I move around. I can't help it. Especially towards the end. Sable's coming out. That's going to be on PC, Series X, and Xbox One. Also on Game Pass. So I'm hopping straight into that when I get the chance. I played that demo, and it's good. It's a good game.
There's too many.
It's too many fucking money. Coming on tomorrow, the 24th, coming to PS5, Death Stranding Director's Cut.
That's not what I was excited about.
I know, that's why I said it. Wee.
Is there only one other thing tomorrow?
Yes, there's only one other thing tomorrow.
Coming to PS5. Is it coming to Xbox too?
PS5, PS4, and Xbox Series X.
Lost Judgment. I'm very excited for this.
Some other people aren't. It's not.
I know.
It's not getting as good reviews.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
I don't care.
Even if a Borderlands game got a 1 out of 10, I'd still be like, I don't give a shit. I'm taking the day off and playing it.
Yeah, exactly. If this game, which is not getting like terrible reviews, it's getting like sevens and stuff. But
it's not as high as other RGG games, and
right.
Especially with the trend that they're going, I feel like it's. I hope it's not the start of like a turnaround.
Either way, even if this game was getting like ones, I would be like, I still gotta fucking play this.
Yeah,
I can't not.
Not too long after that, we got September 28th. We got releasing is Chernobylite, coming out for PS4 and Xbox One, and In Sound Mind, a new little psychological thriller game coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. I'm excited for that one. That's my interest. And if you're a little PC player out there, maybe you want to hop into New World.
You little PC player.
You little PC player. Hop into New World. It's out. And I just watched a video this morning of some dude fucking hitting level 100 and logging.
Oh, boy. They must have been, like, into it from, like, the alpha shit. Like,
yeah, they were like, I've been doing this for so long. And all he got for hitting level 100 was to be able to take down another tree. One that he could not take down already. So he's like, yes, I can finally take this tree down. I'm like, whatever makes you happy.
Sure. You know, if you enjoy it, then whatever. There's no wrong way to game.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I might do it.
The games coming out are like, I think I might even be there. I'm gonna be at the point where I'm gonna have over 10 games going at once. And I think I might be there right now if I like looked at everything I'm playing right now.
I'm trying to be smart with it. I have canceled so many pre-orders leading up because I just know, like, all right, I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to get to this, and I cannot fathom the thought of spending $60 for like something to sit on my shelf for who knows how long, especially right now.
I'm at the point where I wasn't kidding. Like, I need like a dartboard. They have like online, you can do like one of those spinny wheel things.
Like, what am I going to play tonight?
It's like, all right, I have today off. What am I going to play? Like, today I know I'm probably going to spend the day playing Cana.
Yeah.
So we could talk about that. And I want to get a little more into that before Lost Judgment, because that's going to probably consume me.
Yep. So, which is a great time for me to catch up on some other games while you are just eyeball deep into Lost Judgment.
Yeah, it's, oh boy.
But I'll also be eyeball deep into fucking Eastward, so I don't know if I'm going to be playing anything.
Yeah, but next week, whatever. Games.
Yeah.
That's it. Episode 16. I'm sorry it came out a little late. Scheduling shit.
Yeah, I'm not that sorry. It's only a few hours later.
You should cry with
regret.
Will
Smith.